finally figured it out. I know why people tell you you could become a web developer in 3 to 6 months, because if they didn't tell you that it was easy, nobody would do it. So in this video, I'm gonna revisit the question, can you become a web developer in 3 to 6 months? The short answer is no, you can't. I mean, I'm gonna tell you that right now. So maybe there are people that after studying for 3 or 6 months got a full-time job, or maybe they had prior experience. But even if you go to boot camp, most of the stories that I hear after people graduate, it takes them about 3 to 4 months to get a job anyway. So I'm sure it's person to person and everybody's different. But in my opinion, from studying web development for a while now, I know that 3 to 6 months, whatever. Whoa, I'm making noise over here. Drinking, not sponsored, right? But this is the best flavor, Rainbow Unicorn. That's right. Fuel your destiny with bang. I don't know what to say about it. Anyway, the whole point is, after 6 months of studying web development, I was definitely not job ready. And the more you learn, and the more time you spend studying web development, programming, whatever, you realize the less you know. So it actually does get frustrating after a while, because you're like, God damn it, I've been learning and studying and doing all these things. I still don't know enough. So with that being said, don't ask this question, can I become a web developer in 3 to 6 months? Because at some point in your studies, you're gonna get so frustrated, you're gonna wanna quit. What instead you should be doing is like, do you even wanna be a web developer or a programmer? Especially if you don't have a college degree, especially if you're older. It is a life change. It is a lifestyle. So I'll give you something about myself that many of you might not know. In my prior career, I actually used to do MMA training and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Guys, here we're playing here, boom. Boom, boom, get to that position, hit the skips, and get the leg.
And I've done this professionally for over 15, 16 years. I loved it. I was really good at it. After a while, my body started hurting so much that I physically couldn't do it. And the whole point, it's like the same thing. People ask me this question. It's like, well, how good could I become in jiu-jitsu at 3 to 6 months? Well, you'll be better than somebody who's just starting out, but you're not gonna be as good as someone who's been doing it for 10 years. And that is like the fact, that is the truth. There are no shortcuts outside of putting your time. There are smarter ways of studying and not wasting your time spinning your wheel by being very disciplined with your approach to learning and having very progressive type of way that you're learning things. It's gotta be organized, right? If you're not organized with your learning, yes, you will waste a lot of time. So the point is, you need to put in the time, you need to study the basics, and the same advice that I would tell people, it's when you're learning to code, it is a lifestyle. You're not like, for instance, like back to my example using jiu-jitsu, I stopped doing jiu-jitsu because you can't have two loves at the same time. You both want to pursue 100%. Before I pursued jiu-jitsu 100%, now I'm pursuing coding 100%, and I can't do both. No matter how many people tell me, oh, you could manage your time, you can't. So I have a friend who's a developer. He works full-time, and when he comes home, guess what he does? He studies more coding and more programming. To stay relevant in programming, you have to understand that it's going to be lifelong learning for the rest of your life. You have to stay current, you have to be relevant. So even though it's very difficult to break into this field, especially if you're starting from scratch, it's not impossible. But if this is something you want to do because you love it, that does make it easier. For me, I don't mind sitting in front of my computer, banging my head against the desk, trying to learn something new, right? I just put in my time, and I failed so many times. And even now, getting my first job was very difficult. And the only reason I got my job is mostly because I knew somebody. It's pretty much what it was. It's not because some other companies would just be like, oh, your application and your portfolio is so awesome, we're gonna hire you, compared to all these other people we're getting. So the point is, it's not easy, it's hard. I'm not saying this to discourage you, but I'm telling you this to be honest. So if your goal to get into web development, to make more money, and that's your only goal, and you don't even know if you like it or not, then it's not for you. If you can't, sit in front of the computer for a long time and try to solve problems, it's not for you. I literally love what I do. I love to code. I'll give you an example. I used to play video games a lot, and I still like video games, but I like coding more. So if I have a choice between playing video games or sitting in front of my computer coding, I will do that. That's just to kind of show you how much I like it. I know I'm talking all over the place, but the short of the story is, to become a web development, don't focus on, am I going to get a job in 6 months? Focus all your attention on studying and getting better. Learn the fundamentals. I've said it before. Learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and learn the framework. That's it. Okay, that's step one. And step two, be able to make a bunch of projects where you're able to create a front-end application that is able to make an API call to a back-end or some sort of database and pull data and write data, like a simple CRUD application. With that understanding, you will be able to start to understand. But I just say understanding, like, if that, man, that's what happens when you just talk out of your head. You're like, oh, I'm gonna say all this wisdom, and nothing comes out. So the point is, just spend your time studying, study hard, do your work. Everybody hears this advice, oh, do the work, study, work hard, and you're gonna get a job. But the truth is, the one thing that nobody tells you, it is hard. And like I said before, the reason why they tell 3 to 6 months is because if they told you how difficult it was from the beginning, nobody would ever try to pursue programming. Like, if someone told me the truth, I would quit a long time ago. So yes, you could become a developer in 3 to 6 months. I'm gonna spread the lie. I'm gonna tell you this, yes, and maybe you can if you will hustle, right? But it's hard. And if this is what you want to do, understand that this is going to be a life change. 80% of your life will have to revolve around coding. I'm not even making that up. Like, if you decide to be a coder, a programmer, a web developer, your life will be spent 80% in front of the computer working with code. And if you can't see yourself enjoying that, they'll be very, very difficult. Every programmer and coder I know, after a while, when they made it, and everybody's a happy coder when they're making like the huge salary over like 150K and up, and now they're able to do like stuff and like whatever. But the point is, on the way up there, while you're working your way to your like up the ladder in the career, it's difficult, it's hard. And so with that being said, I just wanted to give you my honest opinion of what's my progress been. It's been very difficult, very hard. There's a lot of frustration, but if you love coding and you don't mind the grind, then it's not a big deal, because you understand that every day of consistent work brings me closer and closer to my goal. So you may not get a job today, you might not get a job tomorrow, you might not get a job in 6 months, a year, 2 years, but eventually you're gonna know enough that even if you can't find a job, you might be able to start your own business, build your own project, start your own company. And with that being said, if you like what I talk about on this channel, you kind of like my vlog / educational, I do want to start doing some reviews of courses I took online and stuff like that, bringing you guys more value. Let me know in the comments below what kind of content you want to see. If you hate this video, like, please hate by all means, but let me know why, so I could make my next video much better. If you like it, like it. If you want to subscribe and support the channel, that'll be super awesome. But anyway, I will see you guys later. I'm going to the gym, because now that I don't do jiu-jitsu 24/7, because I used to do jiu-jitsu 24/7. Like, people like, how did you get so good? I did jiu-jitsu 80 hours a week. You get good. And so the point is, now that I don't do jiu-jitsu, I need to try to stay in shape. So I'm gonna go to the gym and lift some weights. Everybody should lift weights, by the way, because it's awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.